You put a lot of emphasis on security at the northern border. You know, the ACLU recently obtained that disaggregated data through a lawsuit that's showing just 21 encounters or apprehensions from October 22 to December of 23. You called those figures, quote, cherry-picked. Are you saying it's wrong or inaccurate, or is the number really 21?
Yeah, no, it's, again, our efforts aren't just about our small border, right? The border has to be protected from the eastern part of Maine, all the way what we call the Swanton sector, all the way into Vermont and even into New York. So we're all kind of in this together, right? What we're saying here in New Hampshire is we're taking this very seriously. If you're going to bring drugs or traffic people, which we've seen both of here in the state, this is not a place to do it, right? And I'm hoping that we're kind of leading by example in Maine and Vermont. We'll take it as seriously. We've had more folks on the terrorist watch list across the northern border than the southern border. That's amazing, considering so many more people en masse across the southern border. But the people on the terrorist watch list are coming here, and they're specifically coming down through the kind of Montreal, Quebec into New York. That's Buffalo and the Swanton sector see the most amount of potential crossings in that area. So again, we're a piece of that pie. We're going to do our job. And look, even our Democrat federal delegation said more resources have to be put on the northern border. So this is not political. The ACLU is dead wrong, as they always have been. You know, they just kind of cherry-pick data so they can raise more money and try to raise, you know, try to tell people that we don't have a border issue in this country. Everybody knows we have a border issue in this country, both northern and southern. It's a real issue. It's very serious. We're taking it seriously here, and we hope other states do as well.
So you're saying that number, 21, is incorrect?
No, I'm saying that we look at the entire sector.
The whole thing?
Yeah, you have to, because when they come through Maine, are they going to stay in Maine? No, they're going to have to come through New Hampshire. When they come down through Vermont, do they just stay in St. Johnsbury and not cross the border? No, they come down through Vermont and then into New Hampshire. So they're just looking at the number that actually crossed our tiny little border here. We're looking at the system as a whole for the entire Northeast. Yeah.
But to that point, if you're going to spend $1.4 million and there are only, you know, one immigrant per 3 weeks, essentially, over that time period, why not reallocate those resources on I-95 or...
Oh, we already have a lot of resources. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Remember, the federal government used to give us a lot of this money. We're just replacing the grant funds that were taken back from us from the feds. As they mismanaged the southern border, they took funds and resources and sent it to the southern border. I said, hey, we need help up here. Mayorkas said, no, we're not going to replace that. I said, okay, then we're just going to do it ourselves. So all we're really doing is what we've always done, if you think of it that way, right? We have a northern border of alliance on law enforcement. There's communication, there's technologies and manpower that's being put up there that right now is not up there. And that allows us not to protect the border and keep these communities informed about what's happening. But it's not just a New Hampshire issue, right? It's a Maine, Vermont, New York issue. And that's why the ACLU is going to try to cherry pick a little piece of data to try to make a point. It's all politics with them. We're about the practicality of keeping our communities safe. And if more resources are needed, then absolutely, we're going to even put more resources up there.
The difference being that New Hampshire taxpayers are footing the bill right now because the federal government is not. Another on that issue.
I mean, if I may, you know, in Texas has spent. You can complain about spending 1.4 million here in New Hampshire. They've spent $2 billion last year of their own money. $2 billion to secure the border just in Texas. So states are having to do more of their own where the federal government is completely falling down.
And you're sending guardsmen to Texas to assist in that effort. I know this is an issue that came up at the Executive Council meeting and you got into a little back and forth with Councilor Warmington. But, you know, this is a little different than the usual deployment because, again, Texas is trying to fulfill a federal role. So is there any concern that if there is friction or some kind of clash between these state-level forces and federal officers, have you given any direction, or will General Michaelides give any direction to the guardsmen who are there about what happens if there's some kind of standoff or confrontation between federal and the Texas military department?
Yeah, so we've sent folks to the border before. This is not the first time. We've sent hundreds of people to the border. We did one in the southwest part of the state. We've done. We just had nearly a couple hundred come home from Texas last year. We're sending some more down now. So there are already protocols in place for chain of command, who responds to who. That's all been established and in place. So I appreciate Councilor Warmington trying to make some political hay for her own campaign, but you know, this isn't about politics. This is about protecting the border, and to understand that the fentanyl that we see here on the streets of Manchester, in New Hampshire, that's all coming over the southern border, every bit of it. And it's basically a free market for them right now because no one's guarding the border, no one's protecting the border, and we're, you know, if not just New Hampshire, but if all the states kind of do their part and go down and be part of that solution that the federal government is no longer willing to be of. I mean, you know, how about we start? I said this to the president a couple weeks ago. I said, you know, when we talk about policy changes, how about we start with the Obama policies? That would be a win right there. I mean, I think a lot of folks would love if we just went back to the Obama policies. That's how bad this has become. So my point is, it's not a Republican-Democrat thing. It's a national security thing, and it's our #1 national security issue.